right, well, welcome aboard, folks. This is Mike Holmes here. We'll be getting started in just about 2 minutes. We just wanted to get a couple last final things ready to go here, do our mic checks, make sure that you are ready as well. You've got a glass of water, notepad, pencil, something to write down with, and we'll get started here in just a moment. A couple more tests, and we'll get you going here. All right, we are down to about 60 seconds here. Hey, thanks for your patience. Appreciate it. We're running some new software here. We got Tandem running all our back-end stuff, and good to have you here today, Tandem. Thank you much. Thank you for everybody that has joined us. We'll give you another few seconds here. If you're coming on late, make sure that you've got a pen or pencil, something to write some things down with. We're going to go through 5 things to help you stand out in your community. And we're excited about it. One of the things we're not covering is what you're watching on the screen here, and that is great community outreach with day camps. This is just a photo from montage we did from a few years back, but great outreach, great memories, and great way to touch our community, and such a blessing to be able to watch it kind of go through again. So anyway. All right. Well, hey, welcome aboard. This is Mike Holmes here. I am your tour guide for the day as we kind of work our way through 5 ways to stand out in your community. Now, there's a lot of things we're going to be covering here, and so it's going to take a lot to get through all this, so I'm going to kind of keep it moving along. I want to make sure that you are the right person here, and if you're busier than a normal kind of a person, as a pastor or church leader, you're in the right place, because usually a lot of these little things we're talking about, some digital enhancements and some touch up on your websites and things like that, they kind of get pushed to the back. And that's because we got sermons coming, and we got youth activities, and we got, people to marry and bury, and we have, all sorts of, things along that line that we've got to take care of. And so I have found that most of the people in the ministry seem to be a little bit busier than normal, and I think that is a great thing in a way, because we're getting a lot done for the Lord. So if you're one of those people, you're kind of always you got a big to-do list, you're not getting to it. I'm going to help you with some of these things. They're going to be short and simple, all of them. You might not be able to get all to them in the next day or two, but they won't take real long to get up to grade. The second one might be is that if you're not real super tech savvy, and that is you are just kind of more in the position of like get her done type of thing, and let's get our Sundays done, let's get our kids here, let's get this program over with and keep moving ahead, and the tech stuff kind of gets pushed to the back, and that happens fairly regular. If you're also the right person, I can tell you this, if you're hungry for souls, and I talk to a lot of folks, and I know that's really the bottom line. We're just really anxious for people. And of course, if you're in a situation where your church really needs to grow and kind of recover from what we've been through the last couple of years, then this is for you. And by the way, on the growth thing, we're not growth fanatics here. I got a list of 12 people I'd like to have in church this coming Sunday. And if they all came, we'd have more people than we had the week before. So that's what I call church growth. It's the dozen that I want. It's the lady I witnessed to. It's the family I witnessed to. It's the guy at the tattoo shop that I know that I really want him to be here. It's the young family, that's got 3 or 4 kids that was here a while while back and now they're not here and I want to get them back. And, so you're the right person if you are all of those kind of things. So what we're going to do here is give you just a little background of what I am and where I came from. This will only take about 60 seconds or so, and then we're just going to jump right into things to kind of get you going. So thank you again for being with us. If you'd like to leave some chat, there's and we're on some new software here, and forgive us, these things are always challenging. If there's a chat box there and you're able to put some things in, that's great. If not, you can always contact me and find me at info@reachkeep.com. I will put that back up in just a moment. This is our building here. We're in the town of Sinclair, where the oil refinery is that makes Sinclair fuel. It is just about 100 feet past the back of that building right there. We're in an old historic building in basically a refinery town. And this is what it looks like out here. Nothing fancy, just a lot of industry all packed into one little spot, about 1,000 employees right there. The town, of course, you can see is only, 433. So we have very much swayed by our local economy with the energy sector. That's basically a picture of the entire community of Sinclair right there. You can see not much else around. There's an interstate going by there, Interstate 80. You can see that in the middle of the photo, and you can see our building way off on the left edge. That is basically that's us. And then, of course, we have another town. The county seat's about 5 or 6 miles away. And then from there, it's like another 100 miles to the next town. So we're in a small town. So if you're a small town, small church, rural community, very busy, trying to get a lot of things done, not too tech savvy, hungry for souls, and really want to see your church take off, guess what? We're best friends. And we're excited about all these things we're going to do. So we're going to be talking about these 5 different ways. And so I want to kind of give you what they are, give you the quick overview. And we're going to deal with the problem here in just a second. And then you can see the 5 things right there. We're going to talk about community Facebook groups. These are the free groups. We'll teach you how to get involved in those. We're going to give you a demo here in just a second. We're going to give you a couple big website boosts, some real simple things you can do on your website. We're going to talk about Google search and what all that entails. And it gets a little complicated. But if I made it, you can make it. It's tough to get through some of these things, but we can do it. Then we're going to talk about online reviews, which should include both Google, Facebook, and other platforms like Yelp and things along that line. And then the last one to help your family or your church stand out in the community is what we call print to digital. Print to digital. And this is the idea of really all the analog things that we do, talking about our church and how to get people to move into the digital side. And I'll explain some of that in just a few moments. So we're going to do some demos here, and I'm going to go out and you'll see my screen and all sorts of stuff, probably see my Facebook page and my family and all that kind of stuff. So it's all just real practical for you here. I want to talk about the problem to solve. And here's kind of what, when we talk to people, and I talk to pastors literally every day, and guys from around the country, different things going on, different parts of the nation, whether they're in our academy officially or just people that happen to call in, get my number and need to talk. That if you're not having enough guests lately, in other words, you're not satisfied with the number of folks that are coming in. Now, I know a lot of us go out and visit and invite people and, try to bring them in. But there's a certain amount of people that come too, just from kind of, they move to the community, they're looking for a church, or, they heard about the church from somebody and some of that. And if your digital house isn't in order, some of that is going to be pretty slow because they're not going to be able to find you. I multiple times as I travel, I have been with my wife on vacation last year, and we tried to find some churches that we could visit, and we tried to look them up ahead of time on websites and on Facebook pages and whatever. And in some of the, based on where we were driving, and we had a couple different options, like, hey, we go this way, we could hit that big town or that big town, and we just couldn't even find some churches sometimes. They just weren't even there. And some of that could be solved very simply, and that's what we want to talk about. If you have not enough young families returning seems to be an issue too. And we just recently finished a series on our podcast over at the Better Sundays podcast. And the whole series season had to do with the idea of, in order to reach young families, sometimes you need to do young family things. And to do those young family things, that's a super important thing that has to be done. And part of this digital stuff, again, is sort of what young families do in this day and age. They text and they look at websites and they read reviews and all of that stuff, where a lot of us, I kind of grew up with the yellow pages, and I don't even think you can find one of those anymore. So the other thing is, if your Facebook and your tech stuff just seems to not be bearing fruit, and boy, do I hear this a lot. This is where, excuse me, where I'll be talking to somebody and they'll go, "Oh, we tried Facebook ads and they didn't work." "Oh, we tried that connection stuff, it didn't work." And, "Oh, we tried this and it didn't work." Well, some of that is not because it doesn't work in your community, okay? It's because we haven't worked it right. And we're going to try to help you with that. And we have some resources that go way beyond this webinar that will help you with some of that. I will try to reference a couple of those as we go along, or you can join us in 1st of September for our big training conference that we have, the Back to Church conference. We're going to be dealing with a lot more tech stuff during that conference that is coming up in September. And then, of course, we always have our Reach Keep Academy, which is a monthly membership thing where pastors join. And we got a lot of cool stuff going on in that too. But then we get to help you. We just get to go to your Facebook page and we get to kind of take it apart, and we get to, I've actually built ads for churches and all sorts of stuff. So that's what the Academy is. And if you're needing a little help, a little extra help on the Facebook and tech stuff, it's not bearing fruit, that might be an option for you. But we're going to kind of give you some of the real surface things here today that I think could kind of get you started, the big pieces. So, and then the last one is, if you're anxious for that reboot and that dynamic outreach, if you've just longing to be in your community the right way, a mover and a shaker, we call it. In other words, hey, there's something going on down at that church. And hey, there's, man, that Baptist church, they got something happening. Man, there's a lot of kids down there. What's going on down there? If you're just anxious, and not that we need the world's approval, I'm not talking about that, but just the fact that it is exciting to have exciting services. I mean, when you finish a Sunday morning service and you've had a bunch of first-time guests there, and you've had some people respond to the gospel one way or another, you've had kids, coming to VBS. You have young families setting up counseling appointments afterwards because they got to talk, and you got someone come to you and say, "Hey, I'm interested in getting baptized." All that kind of stuff. Let me say something. That's dynamic outreach, and if you've ever seen that, once you get a taste of that, it's a wonderful thing, and you want to get back to that as quick as you can. And a lot of us have lost that, and to be honest, I mean, I know I'm traveling a lot. And the COVID thing has knocked the churches flat in so many ways. And so we really need to sharpen up. And this is just one of those ways to stand out in the community. So, again, the Q&A, we're going to keep it for this today, is going to be at reachkeep.com, info@reachkeep.com. You can send me a question there, be fine. You can type something in the chat box, and Tana might be able to get back to you on some of that. I might be able to get back to you. So go ahead and feel free to do that at that option there. Also, a Q&A is for our conference that is coming up that we have. I'll tell you a little bit about it at the end here. Basically, we got these hour and a half, 90-minute in-depth training sessions on some very, very important topics. And then in the afternoons, we're doing all Zoom calls. And you'll be able to get on and talk to folks who are going to help you solve whatever particular problem that you have. We're going to do our best. So, all right, community Facebook group. So here we are. Well, let's talk about community Facebook groups here. Here's the three things that you have. Basically, find active groups in your area. Check out the flavor of the group. I'll explain that. And then engage regularly. I'll come back to this slide. Let me go ahead, and I'm going to pull out here and head over to Safari here. And let's head over here. This is This is my Facebook page there, and Pastor Friend had a baby here not too long ago, that kind of stuff. What I want you to do is go to your Facebook page, and you go over here to where it says groups. Okay, you see this large area here says groups. We're going to click on the groups feature there. And when you get to groups, and these again, some of the groups that I'm involved with, and just some great stuff that I get involved in, underneath the groups, under my feed, it has the word discover. Now, in the word discover, once you click on discover, it is going to bring up suggested groups for you. And it is in this area that I want you to start to scan down. Now, yours are going to be totally different than mine. Okay, this is just kind of like I'm a Baptist. Okay, so here's Charles Spurgeon and the Bivocational Baptist Preacher page, and some stuff. I'm from Wyoming, so we got I'm from Wyoming through the lens, and Wyoming vehicles under $1,500, those kind of things. So all of these are groups that are made suggested for me. Now, a lot of the community groups will not show up on here because I've already joined them all. Okay, but I did see one. Here is one right here. WAM Sutter, Wyoming Classified. There are 783 people in that group. There are 6 posts a day, and this is the next town to the west of me. It's about 50 miles, 55 miles, something like that, from where I am. And we have had some people come from there and drive in. I would like to join this group, okay? And to join this group, it's very simple. You hit this little thing that says join group. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do this just so you kind of see what happens. Now, it sends out a request for me to join. Some groups are tighter than others. In other words, you have to be approved. And some groups are open, and they just take everybody in the whole world. But what you're going to do is send that out, and then you're going to get a notification a little bit later if you've been there. So here's one from our local community, Rollins Garage and Yard Sales. Okay, another one. Here is one that has specifically to do with the high school, our high school group. All right, so it has Rollins High School, and there's 2,000 people, okay, that are involved in that. So you can see all these particular groups. Now, what I want you to do is to go to those groups, okay, and find active groups. So you got to join 4 or 5 of them, and you kind of get yourself approved and get into them, and then watch what goes on in those groups for a while. For example, the high school group. If it is a high school group and most of the announcements have to do with, youth activities and stuff with the kids and some of that, then that is an ideal place for you to post in there. And by the way, make comments and engage regularly, as it says here. That's a very, very important thing. Make sure that you're engaging. But watch that particular group and see what the flavor is of that group. So again, if it's a teen type thing and it's high school, whatever, that would be an ideal place for you, or maybe a youth pastor or youth director, to be kind of watching. And then you're going to find out what's going on with the kids. You're going to find out here, and you kind of keep a little bit buzz, the buzz of the community. You get to kind of know what's going on. And then you can make an activity like, hey, we're going to do a 5th quarter activity after the football game. We're going to, do something over here, do something over there. You can talk about what you are going to do, and that is the engaging regularly type of thing. You'll find many of the groups are tied to sales, okay, which then if you're going to post something in a sales group, it would be something more like that you have an offer, like your kids' program is going to have, snow cones after church on Sunday, or, we did an egg hunt for Easter, and we posted in the community groups, and we had so many people come out for an egg hunt, you just wouldn't believe it. It just blew my mind because it was like an offer. Okay, it wasn't just like church service 9:30 and 11. It wasn't just features, but it was the benefit that we could give to that particular group. So you want to kind of check out that flavor and then you want to post in those regularly. So it's really not that hard to get into the community Facebook groups and start to do stuff in them. We've never been kicked out of any of them. Now, I'm very careful. I don't like post, hellfire and brimstone sermons in them. I don't post a whole sermon. But last week, I actually did since we're doing what we call camp meeting days, which is a special month of meetings that we're doing, where we kind of take Bible camp and combine it with a Sunday morning church. So we basically, on Sunday morning, and you may think this is a little crazy, but it works for us. On Sunday morning church, we did Bible drills, and we played, a couple of games and had some fun, had all the kids in there and all the adults. We sang a whole bunch of choruses, all sorts of, fun stuff like that. We played like this Bible Scrabble game, and we did, name that verse, and, we've done the Bible, like regular Bible drills. You can do whatever you want. So we did all that kind of stuff. I put a video into our community group and there's one that deals with more just community type issues, and I put a video in there. And I said, hey, this is Pastor Mike over here, Sinclair Baptist. Just want to invite you over to our camp meeting days. We're going to have a great time. We're going to sing a bunch of old campfire songs and stuff like that. Well, we had a couple that just moved to the community, and they just got here a month or so ago, moved here for family reasons because of some kids that they have here, and there apparently some health issues or something. And so they moved here, and they had not even had a chance to go to church yet. And they showed up at church. They ate it up. It was awesome. And it was because of a Facebook community group post. The lady said, man, I used to sing all those songs all the time when I was a kid. I remember that. And, we were singing all the old choruses, My Lord Knows the Way Through the Wilderness, and Isn't He Wonderful, 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 all those kind of things. We had a great time. So, but I want you to do is to get involved in the community Facebook groups and step into them. So go to the Discover button. The other Discover way to do it, and this one's probably sort of cheating, but I think you can do it, is just talk to a few of the people in your church and just say, which groups are you guys in, and figure out which ones are which, and kind of figure that out. There are some groups that are more like, some of them are filled with like drama and gossip. It's like you might want to stay away from those. Or those might be the ones where you might want to go, because actually there's a lot of people there that need the Lord, but you can say, hey, we're here to bring stability to your family. But check that out with your people, check it out on the Discover thing, and then engage regularly and be a positive person. And again, don't get caught up in the wrong kind of engagement there. That can go downhill fast. So don't react, we should say, as a lot of Facebook people do. So Facebook community groups, first way to stand out in your community. The second one here is what we call a website boost. Website boost. And I'll give you the three things that are right here, and I'll come back to this screen in a moment. Service times and address. You need to have that at the top of your page, above the fold, as they call it, where it can be seen very easily. Those are the two things that people are looking for more than anything else when they come to visit your church the first time. And as I mentioned, they don't visit your church the first time physically. They visit it digitally the first time. They want to know when is the service and where. Okay, that's basically the main thing. The couple boosts here that we're going to do, okay, is talk to you about having a photo of your church from the street. So when people pull up, they go, that's it. I work with a lot of church planners. They're in small little buildings. They're in, tucked away somewhere. And you need to, when people see it, they need to recognize what that is. And then the second big boost here is this idea of pictures of kids, okay? Pictures of children. So let me jump over to a website quick, and we'll take a look at one. Let's see, right here. This is Sinclair Baptist website. This is ours. It's got kind of a little bit extra text there because of our camp meeting days. I had to throw that in a couple of days ago, and it looks kind of goofy. It didn't come out right. I need to fix that. So anyway, this is a photo of our church. You can see this is what the church would look like as you were driving up. And here is a button that says, when's church, where's church, what's it all about? That button will get you anywhere. We got first time guest button to get you about anywhere. Okay. And then if you scroll down just a touch, we have all the questions. Here's one. When is church? How long does it last? Okay. How to get to Sinclair from anywhere. What do you have for the kids and the teens? And I want you to notice something. We got a picture of the church here again. There's a picture of the church. We want it to be very recognizable, where people are finding your church right away. And then we have pictures of children. You need to add some pictures of children to your websites. Some of you, and you can get a stock photo. This particular one here, this is stock photo. This is not, and you can go to Google Images and find some of that stuff. You can look up a lot of things. You can buy them off of iStock or a lot of different areas to get photos, and you can pay a few bucks for it, or you can get them for free too. There's a lot of ways to get that. Just type that in. We use a website for photos called Unsplash. Okay, and then the word splash. If you go to that, Unsplash has all sorts of photos. Another one is called Pexels. Kind of like the word pixel, but Pexel, Pexels, Pexels. And either one of those are filled with royalty-free, downloadable, high-res photos of everything you can imagine. That in Google Images. And so go to those, but get some pictures of children and have pictures of your thing, and then have it to where people can find out. So here's our service time, 10:30 only. Our normal service times are written right there. There's a button here, When's Church, Where's Church, What's it all about? This can take you to a couple different places. We have an about page, and there again, some more pictures of kids over here. If you scroll down to the bottom, there's more pictures of kids, So just all sorts of those kind of things. We have a button for first-time guests, so people will kind of know how to get there, when our services are, where we are in relationship. We have a Google map right here, and where we are in relationship. We put a couple recognizable things in our map. Okay, so we have the Sinclair Oil Refinery, which is gigantic and everybody knows where it's at. And then we have a cafe called the Sinclair, or the Sukasa Cafe. And so those we have backlinks to their sites as well, because we're a small town and we all love each other. So that's kind of how the situation works there. But make sure that you have pictures of kids, and then the rest of your website, you can have all sorts of different things. And I'm not going to spend, too much time going through all this, but let me just say this real briefly, that in our circles, most of us, when we do any kind of marketing or advertising, because of church work, for some reason, we just like to do the features. We just like to say, our service is at 10:30 and we're at 400 Lincoln and you need to be there, that type of thing. We don't take time to put the benefits down. And it is really important for you on your website, and especially on your Facebook page too, if you have a church Facebook page, that you put down the benefits for your church as well. So why people should come. Okay, a lot of different things. Like here's an article called Formerly Discouraged People. Okay, and it's just, I wrote an article, and it's all about, that you don't have to be discouraged. Okay, an apple a day keeps the devil away. Okay. 6 haircuts that should be in every church. It was just kind of a fun little thing. Some stuff we did with our Kids City program. Silly articles. And this one's kind of goofy. You probably wouldn't do this, but we did it. Sinclair Baptist is the ultimate place in the world for kangaroo lovers. Okay. What? And you know what? We get more clicks on that article than you can shake a stick at. The top 3 cookies we serve in Sunday school. Okay, so just some fun stuff. Does church seem better in an old hotel? Okay, so yeah, just some interesting stuff. So we have that type of stuff, and I want to encourage you on your website to do what needs to be done. Is make sure that your service times and your address are up there at the top. And make sure you get a photo of your church from the street, and then you have the pictures of kids. Now, let me just briefly touch on something that run into all the time, and that is that you do not have access to your website. And I don't have a real easy solution for that, okay, other than to say that it is probably more of a serious problem than you're thinking it is. Okay, if somebody, yeah, I mean, it's basically, if your website is inaccurate, it's got the old service times, it's got stuff. I went to one a while back, and it was like, the latest post on the thing was for a Christmas Eve service. And then I looked at it, and it was like a 7 years ago Christmas Eve service. And I talked to the pastor, and he says, I don't have access. I don't have any way to fix it. You need to do whatever you can, chase some of that stuff down. And if you need some help chasing some of that stuff down, you might be able to get hold of Tandem at solutions at solutions@reachkeep.com. Pardon me. I'm info@reachkeep.com. Our tech guy is Tandem, and he is at solutions@reachkeep.com. And if you're having a difficult time getting access to your website, there might be some ways that he might be able to help you out. But you're going to have to do that, or you're just going to have to come up with a new website. So, and you know how to change the name. You can make it, first Grace of your town, and Grace Baptist of your town, or Grace Baptist Church of your town. However it happens to be, come up with a new domain, buy a new one, and get going on a new website. And I do definitely know Tandem can help you on that at solutions@reachkeep.com. I'll get that eventually. So, all right. So that is our number 2 one here. Oh boy, we're moving along. We got to get zipping. Let's talk about Google search. Okay. This one is a little bit more complicated than others. It can be. Put it this way, it can be. It's not necessarily. And I want to make sure that you kind of know how to get to this. So first of all, your church is more than likely already listed in some way in Google. They know because your phone number, because your address, they got it figured out. What you need to do, if you're totally brand new to this, is just go to Google Maps or just regular Google search and type in like Baptist Church, Sinclair, Wyoming, and poof, see what comes up. When you find it, there will be a place for you to click on to see, to verify that you are indeed the owner of that. And I know we don't own our churches, but if you're the pastor, click the owner button, okay, and that you are the owner of the church because you're the guy that's responsible for that, and get yourself to where you can start to make some changes. Let me run over here quick, and we'll take a look at one of them. For example, this is if you type in Baptist Church, Sinclair, Wyoming, this is what's going to come up. And we're unusual in the sense that we are the only church in our entire town. We don't have any other church of any sort. And there we are right in the middle. I can kind of zoom out just a little bit, and you can see sort of our exit from the interstate. And there, voila, there we are. We get the great big red dot right there. On the left, we have some information, and this is what the average person is going to see. And there's some different ways you can click on this and go through it as the person who is viewing it. It shows our number of reviews, which we'll talk about in just a moment, our physical address, our hours that we are open. Okay, and by the way, if you are a regular church, I recommend that you do this somehow, that you have open hours throughout the week. Now, you may not have someone physically there, but if your machine is on and working, the flip side is it looks, if you say the only time we're open is like from 10:30 to noon, we'll say, on Sundays, the way it shows on Google sometimes is you are closed for, 166 and a half hours out of the week, and you're only open an hour and a half. And that just has a bad taste for me anyway. I think anytime anyone wants to call our church, we can meet them there, that kind of a thing. So we have our hours kind of 9 to 5. Every day. I think even on Sundays we might have it at 9 to 7 or 10 or whatever. I'm not sure exactly how it is set up there. But it has our phone number there as well. And you can put on your phone thing if someone calls and it says, hey, if you need the pastor, call this number. So that's just a good way to do it. So anyway, that's what it's basically going to look like. Now, how do we get all these things to work properly? I'm going to go over here to the next one here. And this is after I've already signed in, and won't take you through some of that. Your signing in and becoming the credentialed owner is done through what we call Google My Business, and you can type in Google My Business, and it will ask you if you're the owner, and it will ask you if you have authorization, and it will, ask for your email, and if there's someone else that's already started something there, it's probably going to email them and make sure you got permission to do it. There's a little bit of hoops to jump through there. I don't like all that, but Google does everything they can to make things complex. That's for sure. This is your page. It has all sorts of stuff. Most of this is advertising stuff that you have. Now, Google has a whole menu on the left here. I'm just going to hit on a few of them. Okay. They have a thing called posts, and this is where you can kind of show off something that you're doing. In this case, it's, flower bouquets and how much they would cost and some of that. We've never done the post thing. It's kind of new. We don't do it. The info one is probably the one that makes sure that you have all the right categories, and there's all our time services right there. In fact, here's our Sunday services, 9:30 to 10:30, 11 to 12, and then we've got all our Monday through Saturday, all that. It lets you have all your hours, all your phone numbers, and then it lets you have primary categories of service. So our primary category is we're a Baptist church. Our additional categories, and I recommend that you put some in, we have food bank on ours because we do some food service to our community. We have family counselor, which is very important because we have people that have called, and actually our new pastor, I'm the founding pastor, but Josh is the senior pastor now. He gets calls all the time. He met with someone just the other day that like from the community that needed counsel, and they're tired of the secular counseling centers, and so he was able to meet with them. So you can put some additional categories, and you can change all of those. And then you can tell if you're live on maps and search and all that kind of stuff. There's several different things. The one I want to get to here is reviews. And we will go through reviews on the next topic, but here are all your reviews, okay? And you can see them, and we're going to touch on what to do when you get bad reviews, so hang on, okay? And then the last one that's probably the most important down here is the one called photos, and this is where you can add photos, all sorts of photos, and we have put all sorts of them in here. And the number of people that have looked at them, there's thousands of people that have looked at these. You can see all the different things that we have. And a lot of these, again, have children. They have work groups. They have Sunday school things. We have VBS. And you can click on any one of these photos and kind of get a little bit of a blow up. And so you can kind of take a look at that. You can also have on your photos, you can allow it or turn it off, and that is to have photos from people outside your community. Now this is an interesting looking one, but we had a blizzard. Guy got snowed in. He walked over to the church, and that's his truck right there. He was driving across the country. Driving across the country, and came and we had a great service with him. It was a wonderful time. He made it in the blizzard. Nobody else did. So, we had a big prayer service here. Just some cool things. So anyway, you can add all those things on. This is on Google My Business, and you can put more links, and you can do ads, and you can tie it to your regular website, which you need to have that as well. But all of those would be some important things for you to make sure that you have going. So you go to Google My Business, and then make sure your ownership and all that stuff is verified, and take care of that. There can be some problems, and there's a button at the bottom that says need help, and you might have to work on that. We've had several different circumstances that I've talked with pastors about where they've had the wrong phone number. They couldn't get it changed. They had a former pastor name. They had to kind of get that off. It took a little while. There were some things, and they usually will help you on that. They really want to verify a lot of stuff, though, because they don't want people changing things that aren't authorized to change it. One of the things that we had when we first started was we had our address got wrong, and we are at 400 Lincoln, and somehow it got to 600 Lincoln, And in our particular town, there is no 600 Lincoln. And so the Google search, when you hit it, would take you to the next town up above us that had a 600 Lincoln, which happened to be about 150 miles away. So we had people, saying, "Hey, do you know that your church is located 150 miles from here?" It's like, what? And it was kind of crazy. But we did get it figured out. So anyway, that was that. All right. We got to keep going. Online reviews. All right. This is a fun one. This is something we get to go to all the time, and we're going to talk about how to correct the bad ones here in a second. So Google reviews, Facebook, and Yelp, those are some big ones. You may have some other ones that are bigger in your community. If you're in a metro area as opposed to out in the boonies or in a rural area, there will be some reviews that might make more sense to you. You will have to talk to some of your local people about that. So make sure that you check with your local folks and say, "Hey, where are you leaving reviews?" Let's go back to the reviews on this particular one here, and let me tell you kind of how all this works. We have a bunch of different reviews from people that have visited our church, and we ask them to, give us a 5-star review, and we'll tell you how to do that. They've written them down, so we got lots of them. The nearest other church in our community, as far as reviews, I think there's a couple churches in the big city that is west of us that has like 3 reviews, okay? And we have 42 reviews, okay? So there is just a really, really good, a lot of oomph when you have a lot of reviews. It makes a lot of difference. It also helps with your Google juice, as they call it, to kind of help get you up to the top of the page when you have more reviews and more applicable traffic to your Google site. So having lots of reviews is an important thing, and having good reviews is important. So let me talk about how we got the bad reviews off, and then I'll tell you how we do the good reviews. A few years ago, and it's probably still on the bottom of this one, if you could scroll down further and find it. We had some people driving through the area that were like atheists. I kind of found out they left reviews in a bunch of other churches going across the country while they were just traveling, and they left reviews, and they were all negative. It was, God is dead, and, just some really silly stuff. And it showed up, and it was like, how do I get rid of that? Well, I clicked on a couple of buttons about how to deal with reviews and bad reviews and some of that, and I never really got through the Google people the right way. But someone suggested, and this is what turned out to be the blessing, someone suggested, well, just get more good reviews and it will push that one off the bottom. And so that's exactly what we did. So I went to church that Sunday and I said, "Hey, folks, I got a favor to ask." And this is unusual because usually we tell you to make sure you turn your cell phones off, but I'd like everybody to do me a favor. Go ahead and pull your phone out right now and make sure it's turned on, because I have a favor. And then I said, here's what happened. Someone drove through our community a couple weeks ago and left a nasty review for our church. They didn't even come here. They just drove by and said, God is dead type of thing. And I found that the way to get rid of that is for you folks to leave good reviews, and let's just kind of drown them out, so to speak. Let's kind of force them off the bottom. And so if you could do this right now, and I'm going to just play some music for a minute here, and go ahead and leave a review for our church. And so I just did. That was the very first time I ever did it. And I had people leave reviews for the church right there, right then during the service. I told them, make sure you click the 5 stars. Okay, you hit the 5 stars. Make sure that you say something positive. Now, we did this then for the next several weeks to kind of get things taken care of. And I asked them, I said, hey, leave a review about our Sunday school. Hey, leave a review about the family ministry. Hey, leave a review about the food bank ministry. If you would you please leave a review for our church? And they did it right there during the service. I said, if you can't do it now, you want to do it later, go ahead and do it when you get home or whatever. But if you could do it right now, that would be great. And we were able to then force those bad reviews and get those things off. So I want to encourage you to do that, to solicit good reviews. Now, we have another way that we solicit reviews, and this is right back. I came back here to our Sinclair Baptist website. And we have a button right here called Read a Review, Leave a Review. Okay. And it's got all the different ones there, TripAdvisor and some of those different things that are there that might be applicable. But here it is. I wrote this down, and you can put this on your website, and you can do this in Facebook as well. As the pastor of the church, it is my job to be the cheerleader for our church. I love everything we do around here. I love all the people that make it happen. But as a first-time guest, you may not know anything about our church. That's where reviews come in. Below, you will find links to our Facebook, Google, and Yelp reviews. Take a look at what others are saying, and then come back after you've been our guest and join the review brigade. And so you can click on any one of these buttons here, and it will take you to the page, and you can read all the reviews, and you can leave a review. So I want to encourage you to do something along that. Find the link and send that link out, and that will be a helpful thing on the Google reviews. So that is one way to make sure that you have lots of good reviews starting to kind of come your direction. All right, so you just simply ask for them. You can put it in your bulletin. You can print it there. You can send the links out to everybody after church on Sunday. If you say, hey, I need you to leave a good review, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Everybody, if you leave your mobile phone your mobile phone number on our connection card, I will make sure that you get a link and you can send us a review this afternoon and take some time and think about it. That would be great. We'd appreciate it. But you can do that. You can do that on Facebook as well. Is just simply asking for reviews. So, and there's really nothing wrong with that. You might, like, oh, I'm getting a little kind of prideful and, things like that. It's like, no, this is how people come to church. This is the equivalent of your people inviting someone to church. So, hey, if you want to invite somebody to church, but you haven't been able to, get anyone to come to church, here's another way you can do it. Leave a good review, because hundreds of people read these reviews. So let's go online. Let's leave a nice review and make sure you click on the right stars and tell them the 5-star thing, because if you're not don't leave a lot of reviews, you can end up clicking on the star and not knowing that you just left a 1-star review. We had a lady do that once, and it's like, wow, she disrespected us. And it's like, no, she just clicked on the wrong button. So we try to help people with that online review thing. That is very, very important. So make sure that you are sending people to do those reviews. And this is a powerful thing. If you're interested in more tips on how to do online reviews, shoot me an email at info@reachkeep.com, and I'll see if we can get you some literature. I think we've got some things printed up on this already. So, all right, let's jump to the last one. Here's what we call print to digital. Okay, print to digital. And what I mean by print here is just sort of the old-fashioned way to digital. In other words, analog to digital, your voice to digital, a mailing to digital, a lot of different things. So that means that the print to digital is pretty obvious. Like your business card needs to have your web address on it, okay, and your Facebook page. So make sure that your anything printed has your www address on it. Okay, so make sure that you are doing that. Make sure you've got it on the outside of your building on your sign, so that people can look up and find when your services are, or whatever they might want to do as well. So that is part of the print to digital. The second thing on this is make sure that you are gathering these digital assets. So emails and Facebook names are digital assets. Those are like gold in your hands, because you can send stuff to your people all the time if you have their email address. And if you have first-time guests, you gather their email address, you gather their Facebook name, and we do that on a connection card. If you do not know how to run connection cards, you need to be at the conference that we're doing on September 2nd. And 3rd, because we're going to spend an hour and a half going through connection cards and the importance of how they help you and will bring unity to your church and give you all sorts of opportunities that you didn't have before. So anyway, please plan on coming to that conference. But you want to gather emails and you want to gather Facebook names, and then twice a month in your services, or twice a month in your mailing system, or twice a month somehow, okay, you need to be sending out links, okay, that will take people to digital assets. So take them to their website. We'll take it to an explanation on baptism. For example, say you spoke a whole service on baptism and you didn't have time to get into kind of the nitty gritty of baptism, like, what to wear and, how long it takes and, all the, just whatever your process is for baptism and that type of stuff. You might want to have an explainer video that you did, and you can say, hey, you can go to our church, sinclairbaptistchurch.com/baptism, and you can watch that link. So what you're doing is you're sending people from the analog world, just the talking world, the printed world, you're sending them to that. We also try to send out links a couple times a month after the sermon. So when a sermon is over and there's some extra things that we have for the sermon, like a verse list or a website resource that we found that we didn't have time to get to in the sermon, it's like, don't forget, on your connection card, leave your mobile phone number, and this afternoon I will send you a link to that website. I'll send you a link to that YouTube video I referenced. I'll send you a link to the creation research people that I just talked about a few moments ago, and you can read all the data yourself. Okay, so make sure you are sending links out twice a month. Okay, that's just an important thing that you are in one way or another doing that. Now, that's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of time to make all that kind of stuff happen. Okay, but this is how you reach young families, and this is how you stand out in your community, is you make a difference. And so that is some of the print to digital stuff. Make sure that you are pushing people into the digital world. And again, this would be more links and, content specific things and some of that. You gather their addresses and move forward from there. So those are the 5 ways to stand out in the community. Let me wrap it up with just a couple simple things here. If you want to learn more about this, the Back to Church Conference is on September 2nd and 3rd, and we'd love to have you come. Some of the topics are there. We'll get you some links. Everybody, I have all your email addresses, so I will get this off to you. But we're going to teach you a process on how to get people back to church. We've taken all the stuff that we've done and summarized it into 4 simple steps, and we're going to use those, and we're going to teach that at the conference. And then from there, that's going to be in the mornings. In the afternoon, we are having these Zoom calls and how to make all this stuff work. And we will be here helping you build your system and talking you through and all of that type of stuff in the afternoons. Now, our conference, this is not free. A lot of our stuff is free. The conference is $79. That's if you come at the last day. If you sign up early, I'll send you. I'll make sure I get you the link. It is only $39 only up, to attend the entire conference and to get all the printed material and to get all the Zoom calls and to get all the follow-up. So that is what's going on. So again, we got these main 90-minute in-depth training sessions that are going to really help you out and get you through some of that. And then we're going to be breaking out and having the Q&A discussion stuff in the afternoons is what we're going to be doing. So it's going to be a wonderful time. We're basically, this is the thing. We're going to help you unify. We're going to help you recruit. We're going to help you spread the word. We're going to help you work the harvest. We're going to help you really go into the fall, okay, with a reboot and ready to go and to get people back to church. And when you start that sermon series in kind of October 1st, and everybody is kind of back into sync and they're back to school and everything's back and things are kind of sort of falling into place, you will have a plan and you will be ready to go and you will have laid the groundwork. So we're going to help you do that. There'll be opportunities there. You'll hear more about the Reach Keep Academy and some of the great stuff we do. If you've never been over to our podcast, you can type in The Better Sunday Podcast on any one of your podcast catchers, and that will get you there. I know that'll be a big a big help to you. We also have a YouTube channel, and you can go to YouTube and type in just the word Reach and Keep, and you will find all the different things that we have. And we just are working on a big series right now on Sunday school teachers and how Sunday school teachers need to teach, and just some real practical stuff for Sunday school teachers. And I'm hoping that you can go over and listen to some of those and be involved more in our Reach Keep channel. The Reach Keep Academy is kind of sponsors this entire thing. This is our monthly group that we have. If you need coaching, you need regular talk, you need regular time, you have Q&A, you're like, oh man, I need to, how do they do that? How do we get this done? That type of stuff. That's what the Academy is for, and that is our monthly program. We'll talk all about that later. So anyway, I appreciate you being with us here today. I was trying to keep this short and get this thing, keep it under an hour for you. If you need to know any more about what we're doing, you can go to info@reachkeep.com, and that will get you there. If you have tech questions, you can go to solutions@reachkeep.com, and Tanim, our tech guy, will be able to help you out and be a blessing to you in that regard. So don't forget that Back to Church conference. We'll get you the links to it. Make sure we get you there. It is an in-depth training. And what we found, and I've mentioned this before, when you put money into things, when you take time and schedule, in other words, it's a 2 days, it's a Thursday and Friday. When you block off a bunch of time and you really focus on learning, that is what helps. In fact, you're doing that right now. You blocked off time to listen to this webinar live, and there's other things you could be doing. And lots of times those other things are really important things too. I mean, it's visiting, it's doing a funeral, it's being with a family, it's preparing a sermon, but we've got to take time to sharpen the axe, and the axe sharpening time is just as important. It has to be done. And when we block off time to do that, we block off time for these kind of things to go through. Let me go back to some of the topics that we have here. To learn about connection cards, to recruit and mobilize your volunteers. I talk to so many people that are so overworked, and then 95% of the work is being done by 5% of the people. And we're going to be talking about how to recruit and get volunteers going. And then this one, making social media work in 2021. It's like, well, we didn't a Facebook ad once, didn't work. And we're going to talk about that. And then this other one here, the effective sermon series planning. And this is the idea of the entire, all church, all encompassing sermon series that consumes your church for like 6 to 7 or 8 weeks. And everybody knows what's coming. Everybody's inviting people to church. You have Bible studies are connected with it. You've got, graphics and art, and people are tied into it, and you're out of a routine and you're into an event. And we want to teach you how to do that, because people come to church for events. They come, and if you're looking to reach new people, this sermon series planning is not just about the idea of creating the message, but it's how to create this comprehensive, overarching sermon series that you're going to use in October and November. So here's the Zoom classes. You can kind of read some of those, and so that's what we got right there. Anyway, I just told you about the podcast already. I better get going here. But thank you so much for being with us here today on our webinar. We appreciate you very much. Personal questions at info@reachkeep.com. And this is Mike Holmes, and we'll be signing out. God bless you.